Shallots are a member of the onion family. They are not only delicious but are very easy to grow in your garden. Now let's look at the planting method. The soil that we're using is very well draining. As you can see here, this is the same soil that we used to grow our potatoes in a tub. If you remember that video, this is the same tub and this is the same soil. So your soil should be nice and well draining. This is a combination of peat moss, perlite and worm castings and compost. So this kind of a medium works very well for shallots. So we are growing our shallots from sets that you can buy at your garden center. These are available very cheap around late winter or early spring. You can buy these from your garden center and just place them around this container. Since we are using this rope bucket container, we can plant about around 8 or so in this container. As you can see here, we've laid them out around the container, and what you need to do is just push them in a little bit. Now you don't have to overdo this. If you plant them too deep, you're going to get a lot of leaves but very less of the bulb. So just push them in a little bit so that their tops are barely visible, and then these will form shoots from the top part. Also make sure that you're not growing shallots in an area where onions or shallots were grown in the previous season. And in about 15 days you will see that the shallot sets have sent out shoots, and at this time, if you haven't added any fertilizers, it's a good time to do so. And as you can see here, 27 days since planting, the green tops have grown quite long. And if you had noticed, we started with about 8 sets and only 5 of them actually grew very well. So we have placed our sets around the container so that they are evenly distributed around the container. So you can transplant them after they sprout. And about 55 days into the growing season in April, you can see that the plant is now looking very strong. And at this stage, at about 131 days since planting, the tops have grown to their full potential now. They're looking very nice, and the plant will now devote its energy into developing good strong bulbs, as you can see here. So at this stage, you can still water them very well till about 150 days. As you can see here, they are still growing very well. The tops are green, and during this time, during hot summers, just make sure the plants get good water, because shallots are very shallow rooted. So in order for them to thrive during the hot summers, you need to water them well, and you will see that they are forming these nice shoots. Now you can side dress with a fertilizer at this stage when they are forming their bulbs. This will help them produce bigger bulbs. And if you're wondering which fertilizer to use, you can use any vegetable fertilizer. You can use an organic vegetable fertilizer. Just side dress around the base of the plant and water them. I'm not using any side dressing here because I use liquid fertilizers. And if you haven't seen my videos on making liquid fertilizers like compost tea, or there are some other liquid fertilizers as well like fish and seaweed, those are all good choices for growing shallots. And for those of you who do not like using animal products or are vegans, you can use a salt-based fertilizer, like a fertilizer meant for tomatoes and vegetables. They are called synthetic fertilizers. So at about 150 days into the growing season, the tops have started becoming yellow. And at this stage, about 1 week before this stage, you can stop watering the plants, or at least reduce watering the plants. And this is now time to harvest the bulbs, as you can see here. So these shallots or bunching onions will grow about 5 to 7 bulbs per plant, which is the best thing about shallots. Now the number one reason why people grow shallots is because of its price. the shallots are pretty expensive in your grocery store, and since they are so easy to grow at home, I highly recommend that you do try growing shallots at home. They also taste amazing. They are of the onion family, but they taste slightly different when you eat them. If you caramelize them or if you just grill them, they have a very unique taste. So this is the Dutch yellow variety of shallots. There's also a red variety that you can grow, and the method is the same. Now we are growing our shallots from early spring for a late summer harvest. So in most places you can follow this planting schedule. In the southern part of the United States, it's better to grow them in fall, where you're planting in August or September, and then harvest them in late spring. So it really depends on which growing cycle you want to grow your shallots. Both are great growing cycles and will give you excellent shallots. And shallots, as you can see here, form these small bulbs, very different from the large bulbing onions. Now curing is very important for onions. If you harvest them and just use them directly, it's okay. But if you want to store them even for a few days, you need to cure them. So what we've done here is we've laid this out on our vertical shelving unit for about a week. And as you can see here, after about a week, these onion tops have dried off. And as you can see here, you can just tie them together and then keep them in a well ventilated area, and they should store for at least a few weeks, if not a few months. So there we have it, folks. That was our episode on growing shallots, and I hope this video inspires you to grow your own shallots at home. I'm sure you'll be very happy with your results. And do let us know if you have tried to grow shallots before. If not, are you planning to try growing them in your garden? If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up, and we'll see you again soon. Happy gardening!